Morning, welcome to
KidMath102.
KidMath102, inverse functions. So we started our new section in our book today about inverse functions, and what does it mean when we say something's an inverse function?
Well, if you have f of x equals, let's say 2x, then the inverse function f of minus 1 of x brings it back down to x. It's the reverse of this function.
Okay, that's a good way of saying it. We've got to be a little bit more careful on how we write it. But you definitely said it right. So if f of x takes x to some other point y, f inverse of x, that we write f minus 1 of x, takes y back to x. So that we know that f of f inverse of x
is just x
equals x. So if you do the inverse function followed by the function, you get x. Or if you do f inverse of f of x, that also equals x. And actually, this is the one I wrote here. F of x brings x to y, and then f inverse goes y back to x. Yep. So I wrote that one here, but both of these are true. Okay?
Yep.
So, and the confusing thing with the notation is that does not mean 1 over f of x. It has a special meaning. So we're going to find here the inverse function for this linear function, f of x equals 3x plus 7. How do you find the inverse function?
Well, we need something to function that'll change this to x.
Okay.
So we can say f of f minus 1 of x is x.
Okay.
And then we can substitute this, f of minus 1 of x, for y. Like just to make it a little simpler, we can make this y inside here.
Okay. So we instead of having to write f inverse all the time, we're just going to write y. So we're going to write f of y
equals x.
Okay. Why?
Because that's what it is. Because that's we changed f of minus 1 of x to y.
Why? Okay, good. So f of y equals x. Awesome.
And then our function, it will be 3y plus 7 equals x.
Okay, and that's just what our function means. It says take whatever you put into the function,
multiply
by 3, and add 7. We're putting y into the function, which is really the inverse. 3y plus 7 equals x.
So 3y was x minus 7. And then y equals x minus 7 over 3, which is really the inverse of our function.
Okay, so we found, and we'll call this f inverse, f negative 1 of x, f inverse of x equals x minus 7 over 3. And let's just check real quick that, which one do you want to check? You want to check f of f inverse is x or f inverse of f of x is x?
Let's do f of f inverse.
Okay, so we're going to check that f of f inverse of x equals x. So that means f of x minus 7 over 3 equals x, because that's what f inverse of x is. Okay, what is f of x minus 7 over 3?
Well, it's 3 times x minus 7 over 3.
X minus 7 over 3.
Plus 7.
Plus 7.
So the 3's cancel. And this minus 7 and plus 7 cancel and yields with x. So that works.
Yay. So we did get x. Okay. So what we played around with this morning is all linear functions. And our little just simple idea of just calculating the inverse function actually works really well.
Yep.
That we're going to find is not always the case. We're going to find that in some situations it's kind of difficult to find the inverse function.
And sometimes they don't have inverse functions.
Sometimes they don't have good inverse functions, but it's actually a very interesting topic, and we're going to have a lot of fun with it. But good job today, huh? Good job.